So Bitcoin has pulled back, volatility has shaken confidence, and right now a lot of people are feeling uneasy again. But when you step back and actually align the timeframes, Bitcoin is doing something very specific. It's not actually breaking structure. It's following a classic trend continuation process where you get the breakdown to support, you then get a pullback inside this consolidation range, build up some sort of double bottom base, and then look for the expansion. So before we go deeper into this expansion theory and other charts, let's talk macro, because the bigger players are sending a very different signal than retail sentiment. And this is because the Fed is opening the door big. The Federal Reserve is seeking public input on payment accounts that would give crypto firms and fintechs direct access to central bank systems without typical approvals. This is massive. This isn't restriction. This is direct integration. And it's another step forward towards crypto becoming part of the core financial plumbing. Now, oil money is also buying the dip, because whilst you are scared, the UAE now owns over $900 million worth of Bitcoin. Oil money is buying. This is sovereign level capital stepping in during uncertainty, which historically doesn't happen at local tops. This happens during accumulation phases. Now, Russia is easing crypto regulations because Russia's central bank governor just announced plans to ease Bitcoin and crypto regulations. Russia is coming. This is another major economy moving towards Bitcoin adoption, not away from it. So whilst the price chops in the short term, global adoption and regulatory alignment keep on expanding. Now keep this macro backdrop in mind as we go through the charts. So now zooming out to our macro timeframes, looking at the monthly, Bitcoin is currently sitting on a macro trend line of support. Historically, when Bitcoin holds this trend line, it doesn't just bounce, it typically trends upwards. And based on prior cycles, we had a 215% increase in 2023. We had a 125% increase in 2024. So, given even half of this perspective ratio and the conformational bounce on support, is it likely that we are to see a 57% move up over time if this structure continues to hold? Now, this doesn't just mean straight up going vertical. This is the macro time frame. It simply means the path of least resistance remains back towards the upside. Now, heading back to our weekly time frame, which is pretty evident that Bitcoin has tapped a major demand zone from the lows of April 2025. And this is a critical area to hold as support in this structure, which could give way to marking a potential bottom inside this territory. Because what we have is a major trend line breakout to the downside, a retest and hold of support, and then it looks like we are in a controlled pullback phase before looking for expansion. And this is textbook bullish market structure. As long as weekly support holds within this accumulation range, the larger trend remains intact, especially with macro tailwinds that are building, i.e., Bitcoin being bought up by massive entities, Russia's central bank governor announcing plans to ease Bitcoin and crypto regulations, and also the Fed seeking public input on payment accounts. This is not to be ignored, and Bitcoin is currently in a quiet accumulation phase, so do ignore the noise. Now, coming over to our daily time frame, what we're going to be looking at here is the Bollinger Bands. And in strong trends, Bollinger Bands don't act as resistance, they act as a dynamic support during pullbacks. And this is what we are evidently seeing over the last few days. So Bitcoin pulled back to its lower Bollinger Band, and this is where we have seen relief up into the middle band of the Bollinger. Now, price is cooling off, not necessarily breaking down. And if Bitcoin can maintain closes above the middle band of the Bollinger, then it points towards pushing up to our supply, which we've been covering for the past sort of week or so, guys, and this sits at $95,000. So this is the main level of resistance on the daily time frame that Bitcoin needs to break to see continuation higher. Now let's head over to the lower time frames. We're going to look at the 2-hour chart for Bitcoin. And this is execution level detail because Bitcoin clearly moved up from a defined order block, showing strong buyer interest. So price then pushed higher to the take buy side liquidity and is now holding the 2-hour support that we've been monitoring for the past week or so as support. So this is critical support on the lower time frames at 85K. We had a massive order block for Bitcoin that was holding as support, and now the buy side liquidity is being tapped at the upper resistance, which sits at currently $90,000. This is one of the areas that Bitcoin needs to break now in order to see relief back up to the 94 to 95K supply that we've been covering also for the past few days. So when you stack everything together, macro, we've got the Fed integration, we have sovereign accumulation, we have the easing of regulations. Bitcoin on the monthly time frame is holding a major trend line with upside potential intact. The weekly time frame is also back down, consolidating in a key area of support from April of 2025, looking for its expansion. The daily time frame is bouncing off a major support zone on the Bollinger Bands. Currently, we are sitting on the middle Bollinger. If we can close out above this price, roughly at 86K, then it does point to pushing up to the upper Bollinger Band and the supply block in the 94 to 95K territory. The 2 hour is an execution level chart where we've had a perfect order block and push up into the buy side liquidity. This is where the bulls need to step in now, push through this liquidity and get a run up to the supply. But failing that, then we could see rejection back down into support before going for the higher continuation to the upside. This isn't random volatility. This is structured price action inside a global adoption trend. So now let's talk about Ethereum, because Ethereum normally confirms the move, right? And within the last week, ETH has formed a very bullish structure back down at its daily support block. So this is an area where in the past, ETH has seen significant rallies from this support area. And right now we are seeing the same with the formation of a morning star candlestick pattern on support. This is a strong bullish signal, one that's not to be ignored. And if we zoom into the 2 hour time frame, we've already seen a change in character. We were forming these lower high structures for Ethereum, and we actually got the breakout after we tapped into demand just a few days ago. So we tapped into the demand area, and right now we have pushed up into the buy side liquidity. And we could see a rollover back down towards demand, but nonetheless, the trajectory is clear. ETH is showing strength. It adds confidence to the broader market setup for Bitcoin and for altcoins if we see Ethereum start picking up here. So yes, volatility is still here, but trends don't end during pullbacks. They end when the structure actually breaks. So right now, support is holding for Bitcoin back down at a macro trend line. Structure is being respected on the larger time frames. Macro adoption is accelerating, and ETH is confirming a major breakout. This overall environment rewards patience and clarity, not panic. So respect the process, respect the levels, and let the market do the rest. Now, if you do want to support the channel, I have attached the links below for you. You can trade on the platform we use every day, get fee discounts and bonuses. It's completely optional, but it really helps the channel grow. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next update.